there is a kind of a clash between the whole NFT and gamers, traditional gamers from that space. Like, how do you think about that, and maybe how would you frame that to gamers that might be on the fence there to go dip their toes into Web3?
Sure. So this is very much a repeat of these different types of milestones in how entertainment content is being presented. When mobile games came out, and still today, a lot of people who traditionally play games do not look at them as real games. Right. And that is still a through line, regardless of the fact that several billion people are playing these. This is the way they play now. This is a very standard way to play. Similarly, so with the concept of free to play as well, where people thought, okay, free to play, not real games, this, that, and the other. Right. So they had these. They were painted in these very kind of specific lights. One of the negative perspectives on that and why that was so aggressively pushed back is that people would see it, not only the players and the audience, but also different teams who are building this stuff. They would see it as almost like, okay, this is the curtain closing on the traditional way I have been familiar with playing. It's this idea of, okay, there's only room for one type, which we've seen now that is not the case. And the idea is that mobile exists alongside traditional AAA, it exists alongside small indie, it exists alongside boutique experiences, it exists alongside free to play and premium, right? And what blockchain is doing is it's just offering another, right? So it's kind of, okay, doesn't necessarily change or take away with what you have, because we know that's there. And the fact is that the traditional market, or a free to play market, or a small indie pocket market, they're incredibly commercially viable right now, right? Gaming is booming more so than it ever has. There's been massive releases over the last year or so. It's not slowing down. And essentially what NFTs are doing, and blockchain games are just opening up another kind of channel and saying, hey, this is another way that you can play. And one of the most fascinating things about it is similar to what mobile did, is that you're bringing in an audience who otherwise would not be, right? So like immediately the proof is there that it's an expansion of audience, not a consumption of audience. Mobile unlocked hundreds of millions of people. Blockchain is slowly unlocking like these millions of crypto people who are buying and selling stuff, and they're saying, hey, this is also for me as well. So it's kind of getting to the idea, and this doesn't kind of pass quickly, and there will be people who will be very staunch in the idea of, oh, this is going to be all consuming. And the idea is that no, it's another channel, it's an avenue, it's a different, right? And when we get that and we have kind of these running alongside each other, people will see that, yeah, this whole thing doesn't cannibalize itself, it just kind of grows instead, because it is bringing in a new audience, right? Which is kind of one of the more important things.
Oh yeah, that's I think is one of the biggest things. Yeah, and there's something like 3 billion gamers. I think it's overall is some of these stats, and like 1% are in play to earn. So yeah, it's tiny now, but it's going to take some time and probably education.
Well, I mean, it's relative though as well, right? Because it's kind of like you look at a console game, and a successful console game sells like 4 million copies, right? Yeah. That's not Subway Surfers, who has 1 billion downloads. So like it's kind of like, where's the relative of success, right? And kind of like what are we looking at as kind of commercially kind of viable and stuff like that. So it's like, yes, traditional games are huge commercial money makers, but essentially they're still kind of a core kind of product. If you get, and you've already seen like Axia's had over 1 million active players, that alongside the idea of playing something like a traditional PlayStation first party title, they're not too far away in regards to kind of scale and size of audience.